Welcome to this week's video newsletter. This week has been a blessing, and prayer and testimony time was on fire today because Ray and Cora came back from the Philippines. She has a bunch of miracles. Hopefully we're going to be hearing those in some evangelism spotlight in the future. But Ray and Cora, they were just so blessed and so grateful. They're like, this church is unlike any church I've ever been a part of. The love, the care, not just in words, but actually carrying out that compassion is just phenomenal for them, and I love it. And he talked about how, usually you share with people about the happy moments, but he, this month, was vulnerable, and he shared, there's some things I need some help with, some of his health and his sleep, and we've been praying for him, we've been helping him, the Lord's been providing for him, and calling on him, checking on him while his wife's away in the Philippines, and just like, he was so touched. His wife was really touched, and we love them. It's such a blessing to be able to have them. And then Diana, similar situation. She shared for the Evangelism Spotlight about how this last month she was moving a lot, lots of moving. It was more intense, more difficult than any other move. She was talking to her daughter Morgan over in Indiana, and she was saying, and Morgan was like, "Why don't you just get someone from the church to be able to help you?" And she's like, I don't think churches do that anymore. Churches, they just don't help. They're not engaged or involved in things like that. And Morgan was like, oh man, that's really unfortunate. It was kind of like jarring for her senses. But as she reached out, we did in fact help. Chuck was able to come right when she was just thinking like, I don't know how I'm going to move this. It's too heavy. Chuck came in at the perfect time to help her move around, arrange stuff, and got things done. And she needs some help with cleaning. And Katharina from Canada, Shanicia, and Kathy and others, and just be able to help support her during that time. So it was just like she got help that she needed. It would have been a lot harder by herself. And she was able to contact her daughter again and say, I did get the help, and here's all these blessings that happened. And she was sharing, Diane was sharing how it was a really good witness for her daughter to show that, yeah, churches do care, they do love. And while it's may be true that many churches don't so much do that these days, but this church does. We really care about the people. We are engaged and involved and supportive, and it's really cool to see that dynamic of family looking after each other. And I told Ray and Cora, I'm like, thank you so much for trusting us, not just with your happy moments, but even the difficult moments, because you're not alone. And we don't want people to come to church feeling like I'm alone and nobody understands me, and I'm the only one going through this, because when you hurt, we hurt, and when you win, we win, and so we're together, and I love that. I think it's beautiful, and there's just a lot of that love in the air, in the atmosphere at the church, so I just praise God for that. Today happens to be my 31st birthday, June 6th, so I am grateful for another year to live. It's really been a blessing and a privilege to be able to serve God and learn lessons, and for the sermon, I was preaching about how I was preaching about potatoes. You see, our emotions are like potatoes. A lot of times we think we're processing pain, but we're not actually processing it. If we, the word processing means converting to a usable state, converting to a different state. But if we have anger, bitterness, resentment, abandonment, fear, anxiety, stress, and we have this, and we ignore it, so we put it off to the side. If I put this in a drawer, I'm not processing it. This potato isn't processed until it's peeled, it's boiled, it's mashed, it's seasoned. Now it's processed into something that's usable. If you're eating just raw potatoes, that doesn't really taste very good. And I asked how many people ate a raw potato, and there's only a few, maybe 5 brave souls of us, and not many people do that because it's not designed to be eaten like this. The potato needs to be processed before it can be usable. And same with our emotions. Ignoring the emotions, hiding the emotions, stuffing the emotions does not processing the pain. So what we talked about is how to heal your heart wounds and how to process the pain through God's eye view. And it was, for me, it's been an extremely helpful process for me to have the skills to learn how to process this painful, difficult experiences and to process the pain of stress, anxiety, overwhelm, these type of things. So I was sharing with them these 3 steps in the gospel about how the gospel is applied to our life, and how when we follow God's plan, then He's able to heal us spiritually, physically, and emotionally, mentally. He's able to take us on the journey, how the cross his life, his death, his resurrection is able to be applied very intimately, personally, practically to the crevices of the heart where we need Jesus the most, and how Christ is a solution. So if you want to check it out, there's a lot of powerful tools. It's probably unlike any sermon that you may have heard before, because the way that we're searching through the scriptures is very intentional and very practical, and that can help you in your day-to-day life to actually strengthen your relationships at home, with your children, with your spouse, with yourself, to be making better decisions. And that is really the goal, is to prepare our character for Christ. And that's what we talked about. And then we got a new visitor. His name was Jovinian. It was Jovinian. That was his name. And he came down from a couple hours north of us, maybe 3 hours north. And it was nice to see him. And he's downstairs doing the Bible study. They're doing a prophecy study, which I'm going to dive in with them right afterwards as well. Cindy's been leading out, and I praise God. She's been teaching the prophecies, and we love digging into those, see what Daniel and Revelation has to share, because it's always really relevant and interesting. And then we're also wanting to pray that God would provide someone who's interested in collecting the testimonies. We're still praying for someone who would be interested in interviewing people, whether that's online on Zoom, or just being willing to schedule a call with someone, ask them their testimony, coming to Christ, what their experience is, who are they, what their life has been like to this point, and just drawing people closer through testimonies and getting to know each other. So if you know someone, they don't have to be local, they could really be anywhere in the world. If you know someone who'd be interested in having interviews or testimonies and having conversations where people share their experience with Christ, I'd be happy to mentor someone, give them the tools, the equipment, or resources to simplify the process. But we want someone who'd be willing to interview some of the locals here so people can meet the team. And I appreciate you uniting in your prayers for something like that. I think it could be a really beautiful ministry if we can get that together. So we this afternoon we're going to go to Hell's Gates. One thing that we're planning is being more intentional about going on church outings, like these nature walks or these Sabbath outings, things that we could do together. It's definitely a joy to do. And speaking of which, it's also been requested we have some nature Sabbaths. So we're going to be out in the park. This June 20th is the Nature Sabbath, where we'll be at Pioneer Park in Lewiston. So mark your calendar, invite someone. Who do you know that could use a refresher? Who do you know that could be blessed by that? We're expecting the Lord to really bless over there. This is the park that has the dome that's over by St. Joseph's Hospital down in Lewiston. So that's where we're going to go. We've been there before a few times, and it's been fun and engaging. So that's June 20th. Definitely mark your calendar. That's going to be the last Sabbath that Katharina is here, since she's here for a month from Canada. And boy, has it been nice having her singing and piano and just the music ministry with her and Dwight. It's really, God has been blessing. We're also working on putting together some audio music. So we want to have, sometimes when we don't have a pianist or an instrument or a musician, then we want to have the sounds or audio files that we could play for the sanctuary. So if you know someone, or if you have files, we want copyright, public domain, or things that it's not going to cause copyright issues posting on YouTube, but of course where we could listen to maybe original music, or we could play it in the sanctuary, then hey, reach out to me and I'd be happy to hear what kind of resources you have. Or even if you know of a hymnal that has a companion music with it that we can play for church, that would be really cool too. I'm open to, if we have a hymnal with some music instrumentals that go really well with it, I'm open. Reach out to me, it'd be great to hear from you. But this Sabbath has been a blessing. This week is now coming to a close as we're on the seventh day, and I look forward to what the next Sabbath has to store, and what new testimonies, new insights, new growths. It's beautiful to see that people have been equipped emotionally, spiritually, relationally. People are having breakthroughs, they're having growth. They're not the same people today that they were before, and it's nice to see the discipleship taking place. People are coming into homes, listening to people's experiences, and they're equipping, they're being equipped for service, and they're also equipping others. And I just think that is the coolest thing. I love seeing people using their talents for God, because it has a profound impact. When a leader gets better, everybody wins, and each person leading in their sphere of influence. It's really been a beautiful thing to see. So we look forward to to hear more testimonies. Thank you so much for watching, friends. And if you got a prayer request, drop it down in the comments below. We'd love to pray for you, as we've got God has blessed us with a prayer team and a ministry that really does pray for the people by name, and it's really beautiful every morning at 6. So have a great day, friends, and remember that God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. God bless.